A huge thank you to Kase Filters for sponsoring this week's video. Hello friends, and welcome back to another landscape photography vlog, and this time we're chasing fog waterfalls in Marin County. I share my thought process, some of my favorite techniques, and a fun photography adventure that gave me some really surprising results. I hope you enjoy watching. I started out by doing a quick hike a couple of hours before sunset, and to be honest, got off to a bit of a rocky start. Alright, so we're almost at the top. Let's see what this looks like. Well, not what I was hoping for. So here's the spot, and sometimes you can get this just beautiful fog waterfall flowing from there to there. And when I was looking earlier, it seemed like this area would just be filled in with this beautiful blanket of fog, and if it can just kind of push over this ridge, I think we'll get something really cool. Now I do see there's a pretty big bank flowing to the left of me into San Francisco and past the Golden Gate Bridge, so I think it's worth us heading in that direction for a little bit to see if maybe we can get something on that side, and I'll take a look at this a little bit later and see if it fills in more. Alright, so you can see here with the way the fog is flowing, the Golden Gate Bridge is right there. And the problem with this is the fog has risen too much. When I was looking earlier, the fog was sitting more at the base of the hills, allowing some of the peaks to shine through, which would give you a really nice perspective above the fog. It's gotten so high that now all of the peaks are pretty much covered. You can see a little bit of this hill getting revealed out of the fog, and then in a split second it's going to be covered again. And that's one of the trickiest things about capturing fog. It really does have a mind of its own. So it's really important to first give yourself enough time to explore and to really see how the conditions pan out. In this situation right here, I had about two options. The first was to head over to those hills where I was actually seeing the fog, but that came with the risk of not seeing anything if the fog didn't get lower towards sunset. And the second was to just hang out and see what happens, which is exactly what I did. Alright, well, you know what? I think it's worth taking a few photos right now because the fog is swirling around the city, and I don't know, it's worth just pulling out the camera and seeing what we can get at about 400 millimeters. All right, so here's the perspective, and well, literally in the last, maybe 30 seconds, the fog dissipated. It was like perfect 30 seconds ago, and now, as you can see, it's not really there anymore. But let me pan the camera beyond the city over here, which is the classic and beautiful Sutro Tower out there. And right now we're at 100 millimeters. Let me go ahead and zoom in so you can get pretty close to the tower and have it kind of peek out of the fog. The only thing is I feel like it might be worth pulling out a polarizer because you can see here it's a little bit hazy. In the summertime here, it tends to get pretty hazy on the horizon, so I do think maybe a polarizer will help with that haze. So right now I've got my classic Kase magnetic filter system. You can see here I've got like 7 filters, and it's this tiny little bunch that fits in this nice pack of mine. And yeah, I've been using these the last 4 years. They're just my favorite filters. Of course, you can use any filters that you want. So right now I'm going to clamp on the adapter. And there we go. And then magnetic polarizer. Now let's see what this does to the scene. So if you've used a polarizer before, you're going to already know what this does, but check this out. Just going to twist that and look at the richness and the contrast that you can build. It's pretty astounding. The thing is though, I do find it to be a good idea to take one shot polarized and then one shot without, just in case you decide you actually like the unpolarized version, which has happened to me before. And the benefit of having something like a magnetic filter system is I can take the shot, take this off, bump my settings down a bit, and then take the shot again, put the filter back on, and I'm ready to go. Whereas with the screw filters, it was just a nightmare having to unscrew the filter each and every time I wanted to, switch my filters. So I think I'm gonna do ISO 100 here, keep it simple, F10, And that puts me at 1/80th of a second. Now, since I am at 400 millimeters, that shutter speed is a bit low. I'm going to put this also on a timer. Actually, no, I might even do 1/50th of a second. So I'm just going to let the timer go. Maybe worth doing a long exposure of this real quick. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to use now an ND64 filter here. Slap that on, and that allows me to do a nice long exposure. I'm just going to bump this to f16 to give more breathing room, and that puts me at a nice 6-second exposure. I honestly have no idea how this is going to turn out, so we'll just have to try it. I do see some more fog coming in. Seems to be coming in a little thicker right now. Okay, there it is. The moment. All right, switch this over. Make sure we're nice and in focus. This image of the city breaking through the fog was a lot of fun to take, and I think my favorite part was that golden color that you had to the skyline here. I wanted to further accentuate that by really cooling off the rest of the image and going for a nice dark processing style to this one. That city is looking really nice peeking out of the fog right now. Way better than before. The flow is beautiful. The clouds behind are awesome. And it's changing every few seconds. So I feel like I click the shot and then a new composition is revealed. Right now I can't even see the city, but then it's gonna start to peek out. There we go. Yep, just the top of the city coming out. Little beams of light off the fog. Kind of like a rainbow on the left side of me. Hold on, I gotta see if I can shoot this. This is crazy. I need a different lens. I gotta switch my lens. I gotta get wider. So I actually have another filter kit for this lens, which is the inlet filters. So there's a tiny, tiny ring inside this filter, which allows me to put on a magnetic adapter. I'm just gonna take the adapter, and that one is also magnetized, goes straight on the lens. Polarizer here, throw that back on. The nice part about the inlet filters is you never need to screw anything on anymore. Once the little magnetized ring is in there, you really don't need to take it on and off the lens. This is my first time using it, and I'm definitely going to add those little rings to the rest of my lenses. I can see my shadow right here and a little rainbow appearing. This is so cool. I mean, I've seen this before, but not in a way that I could actually photograph it. I want to compose the city on the right side, and then the rainbow, that little beam rainbow on the left. Make sure to twist the polarizer, and the polarizer definitely brings out some of that beautiful contrast. This was such an incredible thing to witness, and I'm just so happy I was able to pull out the camera and capture some images of it. And really the most challenging part of this shot was just processing the colors. I found the white balance of this one really tricky, so a lot of my time was spent making very minor changes to the color to get the right look to that rainbow and a nice color harmony for the background. Even Citro Tower looks amazing right now as well. Gotta snap a shot of that. These beautiful clouds up top. Some summertime storm clouds in San Francisco. Come on, can't get much better than this. So this one was definitely a more interesting shot of Citro Tower than my first test shots, and I love the pastel look to this one, with those puffy cotton candy fog clouds getting lit up by the last bits of sunlight, and that soft gradient of orange to blue that leads up to those really nice clouds up top. Look at this, facing into the sun. Just this giant layer of fog. And obviously where we're standing, we're a little too low. I think if we get just a bit higher, we should be able to get right above this and see a pretty amazing sight. All right, so I'm at the spot. We just need this fog to get just a little bit lower. As you can see here, that fog waterfall is there, but we just have a bit too much of it right in front of us. So, got my camera out. I'm ready, just in case this happens. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, that's better. That's looking nice. Kind of cool with the mountain peeking out right now. And now I can't see anything. But I bet for anyone who was not stuck in the fog, sunset looks pretty cool. I see a bit of the view coming out. It just, I don't know if it's gonna reveal itself enough. Yep, that fog's getting higher and higher. These are probably the moments that are the toughest. The ones where you're just kind of standing here, it's windy, it's super cold, it's after sunset, and you're like, should I go? Should I leave? Should I wait? How long should I wait? How long am I willing to wait, I guess is the better question. It's always so annoying too when you can just see like the very tip of the mountain come out, but it's not enough to actually shoot it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna come out, and then it, you know, goes back to full cloud cover again. My confidence is not super high. This is gonna happen, but like in these situations, I have a tough time leaving, so I'm gonna hang out until I just know for sure it's not gonna happen, and then we'll call it. So even though in this situation where I'm standing right in the fog, there wasn't really anything to photograph, it's important to remember that you can create some beautiful images in the fog rather than being on top of it. In fact, some of my favorite compositions were done like this. Here's an image taken on the Golden Gate Bridge with my 100 to 400 telephoto lens, and I'm zooming into these strange lampposts and focusing on some of those vertical lines in the composition. And the fog really helped to create this atmosphere and allow the background to kind of fade out into mystery. So just remember, if you can't get above the fog, try and find something interesting to photograph within it. Now, unfortunately for me, I was on a pretty bare hill with nothing really there, so it wasn't possible for me this time. All right, you guys, well, unfortunately, I don't think this fog waterfall is gonna happen tonight, so I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna head home. But you know what, I'm gonna share the one that I shot 4 years ago on the screen here, just so you can see it. It was one of my favorite moments, and you know what, I'll be back. I'll come back here, see if I can get it again, but either way, it was a fun little adventure. So even though I didn't get to capture this again and see what I could do differently, the adventure leading up to it was absolutely amazing. And seeing those rainbows was something I never would have expected, and something I might not be able to experience again. And as for this fog waterfall, well, I'll just be even more excited to try this again next time. And who knows, maybe on the next adventure, I'll be able to get it, or just like this one, I'll be taken on a different journey altogether. And that is the beauty of being a landscape photographer. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more. And if you want to see more from me or learn from me, you can check out my workshops and tutorials over on my website. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.